a lot of local people may remember me doing a silent romance picture called Wandering Hearts with Marie Wassinger, Jeremy Graham, and Tristan Crow. And that was really the first real, I want to say the first real short film I directed. I actually directed a few others before that, but that was really the landmark kind of film that established me as a director. I wrote the entire thing, I directed it, and I had most of, if not all of, the creative process behind that one, as well as another little silent short I did called The Prom. And you know, I was very proud of it. I was very proud of Marie's performances in that. I was very proud of the emotional transition scene that I got to do with Justin Henry's Gatlinburg footage. And I really felt that I really wanted to expand on my abilities to tell a story. So with Song for the Wounded, it was always kind of a dream to do a feature, but I didn't see any way how it was how it was going to be feasibly possible to do one. I mean, this was a zero budget film. We had a few excited people in the beginning who were on board, but you know, I was dreaming big and talking big to a lot of people, and I really didn't have any idea how this was going to come about. I had no idea how we were going to actually do this, and there was a lot of fear and anxiety in the very beginning because how we were going to do this, like how we were going to actually make this project. And my professors at school were always just, you know, continuously encouraging me to do a short film. And I was just like, yeah. But, you know, I really had the dream to actually do a feature-length movie. I mean, I'm 32 years old going into the film industry, and I'm just kind of like, you know what? If I can dream big and have any possible way of making it happen, let's go for it. And I guess the biggest thing that kind of worried me was just that, you know, bringing along so many different people on this project, and you know, if I failed, I'm failing them. But it was really interesting how one thing kind of came about. Like one thing led to another, and another thing led to another, and just everything, when it all seemed impossible, everything just kind of fell into place. And I can only attribute that to divine intervention. I mean, like I said, I've told many people many times, if you do not believe in a higher power, get involved in the film industry, because there is no way, and I literally mean there is no way, that a zero budget project like this could have came together the way that it did. I mean, with so many different talents and so many different schedules and so many different irons in the fire, cogs in this machine, turning constantly, and so many different things that could have gone wrong in so many different ways on so many different levels. Just everything kind of fell into place. I'm not saying that we didn't have, you know, complications and, you know, troubles and, you know, scheduling conflicts with cast and crew members here and there, but just the way that everything kind of came together so neatly, so quickly. We shot this film in 10 days over the course of 3 months, but we shot it in about 10 days, give or take, you know, a couple of hours. So I originally sat down with Meg Biddle, who was our first lead, and again, I originally had wanted her to read for another project that I had written, a television pilot episode length, about 45 minutes, 45-page script that I did, I called The Art of the Deal. And then it was going to be my directing 2 project for my class at school, but after talking with the professor, he felt that was 45 pages was too long to shoot in 2 days. And he was just like, you know, you have 2 days to shoot this. I'm just like, yeah, I've got at least 2 days. He's like, no, you've got 2 days. I'm like, oh, I see. So what we ended up doing was putting that project aside. I went ahead and went back to the drawing board and wrote this script and had Meg read for that, and she liked this project much better. And for the limited time that she has, being a very rising talent in and of herself, she could only devote her time to one project, and this was it. So I said, okay. And I pitched the idea of turning it into a feature, and she was definitely on board.
Karen is a great character. I love her. She is a girl who is pursuing her dreams of music, yet she has some things holding her back. Some fear and just certain situations in her past that kind of entangle her. So you're getting to see a story of Karen really fighting through a lot of the things that she believes or lies that she believes, and also just physical circumstances that she's having to work through, and people that she's been hurt by as well as hurt. So yeah, she's great. She's courageous. She's a fighter. And I think she really does love the people around her. Karen makes me think a lot about myself and pursuing acting, and this being what I want to do with my life, and even just the pursuit of getting an agent. It's like Karen wants so badly just for that next step, to just be able to do what she feels like she's supposed to do and be able to share that with the world. And so I think as you're seeing Karen go through this process and meeting Rachel, Rachel kind of helps her to process like a lot of ideas that she believes about how to get there and what that means when you get there. And I think with me, it's realizing the beauty in the journey, and not so much the end goal. And then as well as just what is it that I really want to do, and what's the story that I want to share with people. And so I relate a lot to Karen's journey. I got connected to the project through John Michael, the director, via Facebook. I met him and then met in person and just started to talk about actually another project prior to this, or what we were going to do. And then this project came up instead and just kind of formed into what you see today.
So out of the film, we have our two main amazing actresses. We have Meg and Corey, and they're both playing Karen and Rachel, together. It's Rachel to Scotty. For me, when coming into this, playing as Scotty, being this all around, flamboyant, jumping around dude, messing around, cutting jokes and stuff, trying to make light of the situation. He was Rachel's manager. She had already become well known. She was all over the place. Well, not really all over the place. It was more like Scotty was all over the place, messing around, doing things. She was well put together, and I'm pretty sure, like, from my point of view, looking at this, she's pretty much what kept Scotty sane. I'm like, there had been so many scenes that even I was getting into that if I probably would have gotten lost in the role if she wasn't like, yeah, well, you need to calm down a bit. You're going a little too far right now. And I really enjoyed her character. It added a lot of not just simplicity, but a lot of like seriousness to the role. It was more like, this is what's going on, this is how it's gonna happen, this is what is realistic, and then here I am over here just messing around, doing whatever, making light of the situation. Meg's character, Karen, was probably one of my all-time favorites. Getting to know Meg and getting to know her character as well with what she had been putting into it. Seeing Karen's character and all the struggles and everything that she had been through, and then coming in to see Rachel, and then me just blundering on and doing whatever, getting to see her later throughout and see her growth, I think was one of the best things in the film, aside from all the other stuff and all the other cool little story features and stuff that was added into it thanks to John Michael's writing and stuff. We see Karen, she goes from this kind of hometown girl, she's wanting to hit it big in the world, she's slowly getting there. She doesn't know where to start. She meets Rachel, she gets into it, they meet me, unfortunately I'm there, and her growth is probably one of the best things I enjoy, just seeing the character go from one point all the way up to the next, just evolving into something that I'm pretty sure she would have never even have seen herself at the beginning of this. I
literally went from a few silent films, I think one actual live film under my belt, pretty much to this. And I was an amateur filmmaker. I mean, I was not at all prepared for what this entire project was going to be, but you know, Meg knew some people, and I brought Tristan Crow on this project fairly early on. He sat down and read for me for The Art of the Deal, and I pitched Song for the Wounded to him and for the character Scotty, and he was like, absolutely, let's do this.
Hi, my name is Tristan Crow. I play the character known as Scotty, Too Hottie Ferguson, and that's more than a name, it's a way of life. I guess kind of go into my character a bit. Scotty, he's a funky guy. He is a, let's see, who is Scotty? He is a music manager. He manages a couple different people, soloists, duets, all types of people all around the globe and stuff. Basically, during the film, he is with his main girl, Rachel. He's been with her since, God, even if he knows. He's been with her, getting her where she needs to go. She's become famous. Then there's this new girl that's come in, and he's slowly taken up her, trying to get her gigs, going into the music industry, and then come up with the amazing, I guess, contest, or better yet, what do they call them these days? Let's see, talent shows, something like that. You know, something great. Everybody can show off their talent and stuff. I'd probably say, other than him being able to kind of run around, be very businessy and stuff, is that he knows how to schmooze. And what that kind of goes with is that he's always changing his outfits, no matter what person he's with. He's always trying to figure out what he needs to be doing to get each and every single contract person on his side. He'll change his voices at a moment's notice if he needs to, changing into different accents, whatever he feels like fits the scene. He kind of goes into to kind of make it work for him. Playing him as a character was extremely fun. Being able to change voices and just change wardrobes every 5 seconds was it was a blast. It was hilarious for me. I can't believe we actually ended up doing that. With Scotty's character, though, I feel like other than the story being very serious and very emotional with certain parts, bringing in these two actresses that are, you know, wanting to make it big in the world, and showing all the different sides of what happens in other people's lives, because you never know. I think he brings a really interesting light to the situation, more to the point where you're not really expecting him. He kind of just pops in, and then he just kind of stays there the rest of the film. He's not really, you know, he's there doing stuff. You see him, he's messing around, doing what Scotty does best. But other than that, you know, he's just kind of there. He's a very interesting character. I love him to death. He was great.
Going forward, the realistic idea of how we were going to turn this into a feature was just, I mean, it almost felt like, you know, yeah, that's nice, but, you know, we're not really going to be able to do this. I mean, how are we going to get equipment for all of this? How are we going to, you know, get everybody's schedules together? And, you know, a lot of this was shot at my church, 12 Stone. You know, how are we going to get permission to shoot on the stage and all that kind of stuff for at least three, if not 4 days? You know, where's the lighting going to come from? Who's going to operate the stage lights? I mean, you know, there's just a list this long, a toilet paper roll list of issues as to why this film was not going to happen. And I just finally just said, you know what, let's go for it and just, you know, trust the divine and see what happens. And just very slowly, I got my roster filled out. I had help from people at school. We just moved forward. There's a very good friend of mine from church, Ben Howe, we worked a lot as my lighting supervisor for all of the performances, and he was really responsible for just making each and every performance look spectacular.